Did I understand you to testify that anti-Semitism is worse under the Trump administration?
Senator, thank you for your question.
You don't have to thank me. Okay. Your best thanks is to answer.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you that anti-Semitism has been rising, especially since the 2017
but has the
Charlottesville
Trump administration
attack.
caused that? Is that your testimony?
I wouldn't say the Trump administration has caused anti-Semitism. Has there been an increase since Trump has entered office? Yes.
Mr. I can't see that far.
Racklin.
Mr. Racklin, I understood you to say that in answer to Senator Durbin's question, the spending reductions, reducing the federal budget would increase anti-Semitism. Isn't that what you said? You think one way to stop anti-Semitism is to give people more money?
I think one of the ways is to actually fund people that are actually designed to investigate anti-Semitism on college campuses.
What's there to investigate? We see it.
You ever watch a moment so painfully obvious, so brutally honest, so politically electric that you literally lean back, breathe out, and whisper, finally, someone said it? Because that's exactly what happened in this hearing. Senator John Kennedy walked into that room like a man carrying a lantern into a cave full of bats. Everywhere he pointed the light, something scrambled, something hid, something panicked. And I always say this political proverb: when truth enters the room, excuses scatter like mice under a cathedral door. Tonight, you're about to watch the scattering. Before we dive in, relax, grab water, lean back, take a breath. Because what you're about to hear is raw, unfiltered, and straight from hearing that exposed the intellectual gymnastics, the bureaucratic fog, and the ideological rot shaping our universities today. And trust me, after this breakdown, you will never look at these institutions the same again. Welcome to Liberty Thinking, the channel where truth doesn't hide behind polite phrases, where no ideology gets bubble wrapped, and where we break down what really happened, not what we're supposed to. Pretend happened. If you love breakdowns that cut through the noise, hit like, subscribe, and share, because more people deserve the truth without varnish. Now, let's dive in.
Ms. Solomon, I want to be sure I understand your testimony. Did I understand you to testify that anti-Semitism is worse under the Trump administration?
Senator, thank you for your question.
You don't have to thank me. Okay. Your best thanks is to answer.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you that anti-Semitism has been rising, especially since the 2017
but has the
Charlottesville
Trump administration
attack.
caused that? Is that your testimony?
I wouldn't say the Trump administration has caused anti-Semitism. Has there been an increase since Trump has entered office? Yes.
Do you see a causal connection there?
Yes.
Why?
Trump has highlighted and platformed neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
Okay. Mr. I can't see that far.
Racklin.
Mr. Racklin, I understood you to say that in answer to Senator Durbin's question, the spending reductions, reducing the federal budget would increase anti-Semitism. Isn't that what you said?
No, I did not. I said that the constant threats to cut money to the Office for Civil Rights and the Department of Education prevents the federal government from adequately investigating anti-Semitism and other hate crimes on college campuses.
So you think one way to stop anti-Semitism is to give people more money? Is that right?
I think one of the ways is to actually fund people that are actually designed to investigate anti-Semitism on college campuses.
What's there to investigate? We see it.
We
saw it. Did you watch television? Did you see what happened at Columbia?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it was clear to me that the administration at Columbia and most members of the faculty believe passionately in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to hurt Jews. That's what I saw. Isn't that what you saw?
I saw.
Isn't that what you saw?
I saw protesters against the war in Gaza and them using some anti-Semitic slogans and thoughts. I would say, however, that it's hard.
But isn't that what you're telling me? That's not what you saw. Now, don't get off the subject on me now. You're telling me that's not what you saw.
I'm telling you that it is difficult for the federal government to adequately address the issue of anti-Semitism.
Are you telling me the Columbia administration and the faculty was supportive of the Jewish community?
I think that they are
You
trying
need to
to
stop dipping into your ketamine stash.
Into what? Excuse me?
Now, if we're going to solve this problem, we need to talk about it. And it wasn't just at Columbia. It was at Berkeley. It was at UCLA. It was at Barnard. And Columbia has a history of discriminating against Jewish people. They used to refuse to let Jewish students come to their university. Now, you can try to bubble wrap this, but that's what I saw. if you want to stop a lot of the anti-Semitism, maybe we need to stop teaching kids to be anti-Semitic.
Sir, I would relish that opportunity.
Let me ask you a question, Ms. Kohab. Did I say that right?
Kohav.
Do you think it's possible to feel compassion rather, for the Palestinian people without hating Jews?
Absolutely.
Would you elaborate on that? Because it looks to me like many of our Ivy League universities, it's not they weren't the only ones. Some universities handled it well. Vanderbilt, University of Chicago, Tulane. But it looks like the administration was teaching kids, you got to pick a side. Mm-hmm. You either have to hate Jews or you have to be for Hamas. You can't be, there's no middle ground. Tell me what you saw. You've written a book about it. Maybe Mr. Rockland ought to read it.
Just because we are testifying, I wrote a chapter in the anthology Young Zionist Voices about what's happening on college campuses, and my book is coming soon, so look out for that.
Good plug, but
so let me answer your question.
Can you feel compassion for the Palestinian people and not hate Jews?
Absolutely. I think that what I've seen on college campuses is a pushing of a Marxist framing of the way that you see the world. And this is not only in liberal studies departments. I've taken dance classes, I've taken creative writing classes, where your final project is literally called the political is personal. And what they're teaching you on college campuses is that the political is personal and that everything should be personalized. And there's a global north, a global south, a global right, and a global wrong. And the issue with college campuses and what's happening right now in the United States is that we're allowing ideology to drive violence. A society that says that you can commit violent acts based on your ideology because your ideology is correct is a society that's eroding. And that's what I see on college campuses. Now, you asked if I could feel Palestinian peoplehood, right? If I could feel compassion for the Palestinian people. Absolutely. And every night when I go to bed, yes, I pray for the Jewish people, but I also pray for the Palestinian people, for God to send them leaders that actually care more about their safety. Leaders that put their people's safety in order to propel an ideology at risk aren't leaders. If you look at Hamas, they tout what happened after October 7th up until this day as a victory. How can you lie in rubble after thousands of your people have died and call that a victory? So what I see that has to happen on college campuses is de-radicalization. Until you admit that there's a radical ideology happening on a college campus, you cannot fight it. You cannot fight it.
Senator John Kennedy opened with a question so simple a high schooler could answer it before their coffee. Did anti-Semitism get worse under the Trump administration? Ms. Solomon froze like someone trying to defuse a bomb with an oven mitt. This wasn't a trick question. This wasn't a policy essay. This was yes or a no. But instead, she danced. And I always say, when a question is simple but the answer is dangerous, the stuttering is your confession. She finally admitted anti-Semitism has risen, but refused to explain why. Why? Because acknowledging the real cause means looking at the ideological monster growing in the very institution she defends. This hesitation happened because the narrative is fragile, because ideology demands loyalty, not honesty, because admitting the truth would reveal that the problem isn't Trump. It's the radicalization culture on campuses. Tell me your thoughts down below. Do you think she was protecting a narrative or avoiding honesty? Then we get Mr. Rackland. His solution to anti-Semitism? Not leadership, not accountability, not moral clarity. No. You want more funding, more offices, more bodies, more forms, more bureaucracy. And that's why I say this political proverb. When a bureaucracy grows, responsibility shrinks. Senator Kennedy wasn't having it. He hit back with brutal clarity. We see it. Why do we need a taxpayer-funded treasure hunt? And he's right. You don't need a federal investigation to know a fire is burning when you can feel the heat from 3 blocks away. Anti-Semitism on campuses isn't hidden. It's broadcast in HD. It's shouted through megaphones. It's taped on walls, screamed in hallways, live-streamed on Instagram. These aren't mysteries. These are public facts. Drop a comment. Do you believe lack of funding is the problem, or lack of courage? Kennedy then turned his lantern toward the universities themselves. Columbia, UCLA, Berkeley, Barnard. He saw what millions of Americans saw. Administrations that preach diversity, equity, inclusion, yet stand silent when Jewish students are harassed, surrounded, isolated, shouted down, or blocked from walking to class. And here's one of my political proverbs. An institution that teaches tolerance but tolerates hatred is not educating. It's indoctrinating. These universities built an ideological machine and now pretend to be shocked when the machine runs exactly as designed. This didn't just happen. It grew from a culture of group identity, a reward system for outrage, a worldview that divides humanity into oppressors and oppressed, a curriculum soaked in activist framing, professors who turn classrooms into political boot camps, and universities want us to believe this is a funding issue. No, it's a values issue, a leadership issue, a moral spine issue. Tell me your opinion in the comments. Do you think universities created this climate? Then, finally, a breath of clear air. Miss Jo Cohab. She walked into that ideological fog with honesty, courage, and intelligence, and blew it apart. She said, "You can love Palestinian people without hating Jews. You can hold compassion for both sides of human suffering. You do not need to pick a binary side to be morally consistent." Then she hit the nail on the head. Campuses are teaching a Marxist worldview, oppressor versus oppressed, good versus evil, group identity versus individuality. That worldview destroys nuance, destroys empathy, destroys critical thinking. That's why I crafted this political proverb. When ideology becomes a religion, disagreement becomes heresy. Cohab exposed the root problem. Students aren't being educated. They're being radicalized. Every viewer watching this, comment below. Have you seen this ideological framework take over schools? So here it is, my full, uncensored opinion. This entire hearing reveals a truth we've been tiptoeing around. America doesn't have an anti-Semitism problem. America has an ideology problem. An ideology that excuses hatred if it's aimed at the right group, justifies violence as activism, replaces truth with narrative, protects ideology over students, punishes dissent but rewards outraged. Senator Kennedy is the brave one here because he did what too many leaders refuse to do. He named the disease instead of treating the symptoms. My solution? Radical transparency in universities, accountability for administrators, consequences for faculty who enable hate, a ban on ideological training masquerading as education, protection for students targeted by mob intimidation, rebuilding academia around truth, not tribalism, teaching critical thinking, not critical theory. In short, destroy the ideological machine, not the public's attention span. And my final political proverb of the day: a society that fears speaking truth will end up fearing everything else. This hearing wasn't just politics. It was an X-ray of America's institutions that we saw: evasion, excuses, ideological fog, bureaucratic theater, and we saw bravery. Comment your thoughts, agree, disagree, challenge, expand. This community is built on dialogue, not silence. And if you like breakdowns where truth isn't censored and nothing gets sugar-coated, hit like, share this video, and subscribe to Liberty Thinking. Because here, we don't run from truth. We run toward it. See you in the next one.